Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Business Point on Global Television, the weekend edition. Many thanks for joining us throughout this week. The Naira and dollar have witnessed a significant rise and fall, and that has also impacted the business of the week. As we speak, as a close of business yesterday, Naira closed at 1,635 Naira in the black market, and then 1,627 Naira in the open parallel market. So we're hoping to see that the Naira gets to rebound before the close of business today. So as we will get into the new week with a high momentum, and also see if we could be able to have more of a bullish side for the Nigerian Naira. On today's edition of the program, we'll be looking at the recapitalization and its impact on SMEs and manufacturers. But let me bring you up to speed with the fact that the Central Bank of Nigeria announced a recapitalization of banking sector in the month of March 2024, increasing the minimum capital requirements for commercial banks, merchant banks, and non-interest banks. The new requirements ranged from 50 billion to 500 billion Nigerian Naira, depending on the type of bank and its authorization. Banks have 24 months to comply with the new requirements, and the CBN has outlined options for meeting and the new capital requirements, including interjecting fresh liquidity capital merge and acquisition, and the upgrading and downgrading license authorization. The recapitalization aims to strengthen the financial sector, promote stability, and support economic growth. So despite having all of these intentions by the financial sector, we are still witnessing the SMEs and manufacturers complaining about the fact that getting of loans have been a major issue, not just getting the loan, but paying back because of looking at the current Nigerian inflation rate, and the cost of living generally in Nigeria has been alarming, and the masses have so much complaint. So SMEs, business owners have lots of questions to ask, and then on today's edition, we are looking at how we can extract all of these angles and then see what the government will need to do, how the increased capital requirements affect SMEs' access to credit and loans. Then we'll also look at the angle of recapitalization lead to high interest rates for SMEs and how they can cope. So looking at all these things, someone's trying to start up, a young entrepreneur now trying to start up, having a business idea and not knowing, how to go about it, definitely will need a loan. So the recent increase now is actually something that is holding off. So, but I'll be going on a very quick break, and then when I come back, I'll be introducing my guests who would help us, understand and x-ray all of these angles. Please do stay with us. We'll be right back. Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bonds, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point, this is business.
Many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is Business Point on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. I have live here with me in the studio Mr. John Ochaya, who is a business analyst, joining me live in the studio. Good morning, Mr. John.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes. So let's look at, we are looking at recapitalization and its impact on SMEs and manufacturers. So looking at all these angles now, the central bank and the Ministry of Finance have, said it's the main aim of having this is just because to see the economy blossom and all of that. But my question to you, Mr. John, is how will the recapitalization impact the overall economy, and what are the potential tackles downside that affects SMEs?
All right. Thank you once more for having me here. And it's a privilege for us to, talk about the recapitalizations. First, vis-a-vis, what is recapitalization? Recapitalization is just a capital base kept in the central bank, just like mortgaging the bank itself or the financial institutions.
Yes.
But we are going to look at it from two perspectives.
Okay.
The effect on the SME or small business, and then the importance to the economy.
Okay.
First and foremost, we have to look at the economic perspective from why the central bank recapitalized the banks or the financial institutions' inclusions. So one of the things that we need to understand is that when you recapitalize a bank, you make the bank liquid. And at the same time, you blossom the economy because the faith and the trust for the bank is no longer at stake, but is bestowed on the people. For instance, now, when Soludo came in, he recapitalized the banking sector. Most of the banks merged. And then some who could not play in the business of banking, what they do, they have to acquire them through acquisition. And that is why we have a lot of bank merging, and then at the same time, the downstream down to a particular size that we have at the moment.
Just like what happened between Diamond Bank and Access
Exactly.
Bank. That's the most recent.
Exactly. So, and that is exactly what Kadusu, the CBN governor, is trying to reintroduce to us in this economy, of which I believe they are doing it. I'm not looking at the perspective of where they are viewing it from, because I don't know their intention. But if banks are liquid, and if banks are, declaring their assets and they're in billions, in trillions, at the moment, it's not supposed to, toe on that line. Supposed to come up with a level framework template, then they will go in to ensure that the needful is done before they come out with the decisions and the policy they have taken. Then if you look at the banking lending at the moment, through the interest rates vis-a-vis, you realize that most SME are folding because at the moment you can't access loan advances at the moment because the interest rate is high. So most of the businesses that are at the moment, that are the SME at the moment, they are folding. Why? Because they don't have enough liquid to maintain the business, and they don't have enough liquid to do the needful. So for that reason, it will affect most of the small micro businesses, because the growth of any economy is basically on those small micro economic businesses. And if the small businesses are folding up, automatically what do you expect? The needed growth that you need in an economy, you won't experience it. And think that is where I would advise that the CBN should take a critical look at the overall economy, and then before they take the decisions the way they are taking at the moment.
Okay. What role can development financing institutions and institutions play in supporting SMEs and manufacturers during this recapitalization? Like you rightly mentioned, we're witnessing lots of small SMEs, folding up because of this current situation. So now there should be a way around it. What do you think the ministries of finance and then the current minister of finance should be able to do to help, stop, let me just say, give something like a soft landing for this loan so businesses cannot fold up, given the fact that the end goal is for Nigerian's economy to grow?
Okay, basically, when you look at the informal sector in this economy, because we are trying to move to cashless policy
yes,
and trying to tighten the economy in from different perspective of view because of the the fraudulent in the banking sector.
Yes.
But in other words, when you look at the country economy, our economy is cash. I can say 50% is cash economy, not cashless economy. And when you have a cash economy, where you are tightening the financial aspect threshold, and then, what that means is that the lot of businesses will fold up in the sense that the lot of people that doesn't have the technical know-how, and most of those informal sector that helped the economy to grow, they don't have the technicality to ensure they imbibe on the cultures on which they are imposing on them. And on that ground, we have to look at those anchor borrowing programs,
yes,
which was initiated for a very long time. But one of the problems we have, our government is not a government of a continuation. And that is why, instead of building on the existing program, everybody is trying to come up with their own personal policy and program. In other words, when you continue on that direction, you are killing the economic more, not the interest of the people, not the interest of the economy, but it becomes a self-interest based program. So in other words, we have to look at the entire nation first before ourselves. Because during Goodluck Jonathan, there was a lot of anchor borrowing schemes, and all that. When Buhari came, Buhari deviated from what Goodluck Jonathan did, and now the President Tinubu has come in, and at the same time, they are turning in different directions from what the Buhari have done, despite the fact that it's the same vehicle that brought them into the office. Yes. So we have to look at it from a different view, from what they are doing at the moment. So my own point of view or opinion, they need to give grant, because when you tighten the monetary policy where the interest rate is very high at the moment.
And then it's being said that the VAT is, rumors are out there saying VAT wants to go from 7.5% to 10%. So all of these issues not.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mind you that in every element of rumor there is a truth, a little bit on truth. It. Yes. Look at high inflation. Look at the tax rate at the moment, and look at the tax bucket at the moment. You mean then the increase of premium motor spirit and all that, you realize that, yes, we are not really, cool at the moment as a nation. Then look at the FS around the corner, because if you, they are trying to streamline to balance the FX at the moment, but with all the effort put in place to ensure that that is done, we find it very difficult to maintain the economic we are aspiring to be. So my view on the point, based on the question you asked, the grant will be an avenue, in which the SME will be able to have access to credit a little bit.
Okay, looking at it now, let's just look at how, you've made mention of the past governance and of President Goodluck Jonathan, and then spoke about President Muhammadu Buhari. Now we are in the regime of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What role can the government, as the led administration by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and regulatory bodies play to ensure that recapitalization benefits SMEs and manufacturers, because those are the basics to the growth of every thriving economy? So what role can they play to see that this recapitalization, benefits these SMEs and manufacturers?
The recapitalization literally may not benefit the manufacturer, isn't it? Because the bank are trying to mop up their financial assets to ensure that they have the base for the recapitalization at the moment. So what that means is that even bank will be unable to provide loan advances to the manufacturer and the SMEs at the moment based on the new policy from the CBN. So I think what the government circles will do, and then through the CBN, they have to sit down, plan, and then understand what it means and the ripple effect of their decision on the micro businesses and then the industry that are at the moment.
Okay, do you think this capitalization system that has been introduced for banks, that is from 50 billion to 500 billion naira, do you think it's going to, the policy by central bank is going to improve the competitiveness in the sector?
Of course, it's going to improve the competitiveness in the sector, because we have seen it time past where bank emerged and then bank also being acquired, and then we have a formidable strength in the banking sector. So I believe with the recapitalization, if it's holistically being put in place as it should, then it will strengthen the financial sector, where you see 23 to 24 banks will merge to at least those who could not be able to meet up with the recapitalization. They will phase you out of the system, and those market players who has have the restraints will continue to play in the market.
But do you think this can lead to a massive investment in the sector?
Of course, if you look at Zenith Bank right now, is giving public offering. You understand? And then other bank has also followed suit, because if really what they have been declaring in their balance sheet is true, automatically by now they wouldn't have been running to market to raise capital for whatsoever they are raising the capital for by selling their share.
Yes, not just Zenith Bank, other banks too. I tend to get a whole lot of mails from different financial institutions where they are calling on Nigerians to come on and buy shares from their banks. Well, looking at it now, because the most important aspect now is for the economy to grow and for small-scale businesses not to grow, die down. What is the end goal and what can be done, to keep business afloat, looking at our current, financial or inflation rates?
What can be done to ensure that those businesses stay afloat is because is that government needs to look at other measures and then providing funds through grant to those SME and then those industry that are unable to, like most of the producing industry, and then other industry is, so to say, the government need to provide grant for them, because if you cannot access loan and you cannot have any other means of generating revenue or income, because as most of the organization as it is right now, they are not generating enough of revenue, to plumb back to the system because of the staggering economic that we have find ourselves. So the only way we could do is through our fiscal policy, reduce on certain levels of measure, you know, that the government is putting in place now, because you cannot tie the fiscal policy and tie the monetary policy and you're expecting the economic to be healthy. In such kind of environment, all we will continue to experience havoc and difficulties. So government need to balance the scale, you understand, by reducing the tax rate, because as it is right now, VAT is 7.5, and then we are looking at the VAT to be increased to 10%, meaning is relatively is going to be relatively high. And then when you look at inflationary rate, 33 point something percent,
yes. Food
and
inflation
then the
at
food
40
inflation
plus.
at 40 plus and all that. So you should understand that the economic is not healthy at the moment. So it's all boiled down to the government to look at the apparatus and the key indicator to ensure that, yes, if they are doing well in this location, if they are doing well in this sector, if they are doing well in an area where they are not doing well, they should look at it vividly and look at how they will be able to, you know, address those lingering issues.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for taking our time to join us on today's edition of the program. That's how much time will permit us to take, sadly. Looking at the Nigerian economy, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been on several journeys to China, signing MOU, and now he's also in United Kingdom, you know, having conversations with Mr. Charles, all in the aim to grow Nigerian economy and keep the country's naira and businesses afloat. That's how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of the program. My name is Samuel Odi. You have an amazing weekend ahead. Bye for now.